Welcome, everyone, to The Far Horizon, our long-form campaign set in Ysterra. And in this case, we find ourselves not too far distant from the grand city of Orlustran. A group of adventurers, three of which set out with purpose, and one set out with purpose of just trying to protect the other three and make sure that they didn't die. Have all managed to venture their way north of the city of Orlustran into the Stormsong Mountains. They have traveled through the Siltwood, a marshy forest landscape filled with awe and wonder and dragons, and come out the other side of it with only a few scars to show for themselves, and an interesting little IOU from the 3 to the 1. You should check out our VODs if you want to learn more about that. In going on this journey, they have encountered all manner of hazards, and not the least of which was hazards in learning more about themselves, maybe answering some of the questions that had been plaguing them for so long, but perhaps also have opened many other questions for themselves and each other as they journey. As they venture across the Stormsong, heading around one of the peaks, confronting one of the dangers and then avoiding perhaps some of the others, they have managed to venture deeper into this hazardous lands, where they can hear the far-off chaos of the Prime Sea echoing from so far below up across the mountains. They have seen some of the dangers that they face, all in a journey to locate a meteor, a red and blue streaked light that flew across the night sky over Orlustran and crashed into the mountainscape just north. In making this journey for potential discovery, in trying to learn what this fallen object was, they have tested themselves and now find themselves getting ever so much closer, believing that they're perhaps only another half day's travel up the mountainside, maybe a little bit more, where they see some remnants of some black smoke lingering in the mountain above. They have found themselves come upon some debris, some wreckage, remnants of what appear to be crates and other objects that might have once held form that is unrecognizable now for the sheer amount of destruction that took place. But it doesn't quite make sense. The only rational explanation is that somehow these wooden crates stamped in a foreign language with writing indicating what appears to be simple ledgers of containment, whatever was contained within. The only explanation is that these fell from a great height in order to crash in such a way as this, to have fallen across the mountainside. And there was something else amongst the wreckage. Deb's character, Mira, was, through the use of her mage hand, was able to lift up a fragment of one of these crates, a simple chunk of wood that had shifted a little bit concernedly, seemingly of its own accord, the kind of shift that would belie someone or something being inside of said crate, broken as it was. And in lifting up that crate, she discovered a relatively small metal figure, a humanoid-shaped creature of some kind, but seemingly made of metal and wood and what appeared to be vines or hosing or something. It's very strange. A large, round, spherical head with two very, very empty, void-like black eye sockets where eyes would normally be on a human face. No apparent nose or mouth of any kind. But she discovered this creature huddled and seemingly hiding itself, only turning its head just enough to see her as she lifted the crate. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was where we left off last week, and where we will pick things up again tonight. If you are all interested in checking out that, though, I encourage you to visit our YouTube page and check out our VODs, where you will find last week's episode where all kinds of dramatic moments took place. So, we'll start with you, Mira, since Mira was the one that discovered this. What is Mira's initial reaction to seeing this metal figure huddled as it is, hiding amongst the debris?
Mira is completely fascinated and looks at this little creature and will just sort of look back at 80 and
80 picks up on the emotions from Mira right away. They're very, very strong. And I think we had kind of established that since the events in the Siltwood, the emotional bond had been a little bit stronger between you, and 80 was having an easier time picking up on Mira's emotions after having been locked away. So in this particular moment, I think that she's basically just getting slammed with this sense of wonder from Mira immediately, and that would draw her over as well. Andrew and Ian, you are, of course, welcome to decide for yourselves if you think Vi or Bren would be spotting this yet. For what it's worth, this debris field is pretty large. Like, this isn't just like a few random crates scattered into a tiny crevice of the mountain. This is like an entire swath, like 50 or 60 feet across on its long side and 30 or 40 feet on its short side, just smeared in an arc down the mountainside, and you're just dealing with a small section of it. So, back to you, Deb.
How far away am I from
like
it?
10 or 15 feet. You weren't very far. You had just used the mage hand to stay a little bit far back, but not very far at all.
I'm not going to get any closer because I don't want to scare it, but I'll just kind of look, and as long as its attention is on me, I will... Hello?
As you say hello, its head kind of tilts to the side and just regards you. It doesn't react otherwise. It doesn't really move. It just... Give me an insight check at disadvantage, I'm going to say. And to answer your question, Beth, which you so politely asked in our back chat, this creature, as it's huddled down, looks like it's not much larger than your average sized dog.
Okay.
But in that state, with it so kind of scrunched in, its head looks ridiculously large for its tiny body.
I got a 6.
Okay. You have no clue what any of that means, but I will say, because your passive perception is decent enough, that you can actually see what appears to be a slight quiver in its form. Like, it's very, very slightly shaking. Like, if you've ever, like, and I know you've done this or seen this, a wet cat that is just recently toweled off but isn't quite dry yet. They've got that just little tiny shudder about their body. That's what it looks like.
Are you okay? We're not going to hurt you.
It remains unmoving, but I'm imagining, Beth, that 80 is like slowly walking over as well. It does turn as soon as 80 comes into eye line with it, its head turns and regards her as well. Not that you were trying to hide or anything, but like the moment there is the possibility of it seeing you, its head just shifts and it notices you. So,
I will step up just at the same distance as Mira
And I'll just sort of kneel on the ground and sit back on my feet and just sort of give it a little wave.
Give me a persuasion check, also at disadvantage.
Oh, cool. $12?
Okay. It, like, what you notice that one of its, or that its arm kind of shifts in a way that if it was a human, it would be like breaking its arm. Like it shifts like weirdly and disjointedly, and its hand kind of twists out, and it kind of mimics her wave.
Okay. Mira, what?
I have no idea. Bren, have you ever seen one of these?
And Bren comes walking up and he's like, "There's actually a lot of food here. I got some potatoes and a couple pieces of bread."
As soon as you start talking and come into view, the creature's head like snaps up towards you,
okay.
and you notice immediately that now that there's so many of you, its shaking becomes much more visible, and you can see that it, especially 80, who's got the best passive perception among you, you can see that it puts itself up on its feet in a way that if it had to get away fast, it could.
I'm gonna kind of sit down too and make myself smaller.
Bren, sit down. You're enormous.
I am enormous. And he sits down. What are
It's
we
okay.
doing? What is that?
I don't know. I think it's scared of us.
It's very scared of us.
You haven't seen one of these before?
No, I haven't.
Ian,
That's me.
give me a wisdom check. And while you're doing that, thank you so much to our resident Canadian cleric, Ysterra Knight, who has donated some bits for all of you. You each have an advantage that you can use tonight on any of your D20 rolls. Thank you so much, Raven.
It's 6.
6. You are fairly certain this creature's not living, first of all. Like it doesn't have... It doesn't even qualify as like plant living. You are familiar enough with how all of that works. It doesn't have lungs. It's not breathing. It probably you don't see anything on this creature that would imply that it's alive. However, it also looks like one of, like, you've tended enough small farm animals to know when one of them is scared and about to flee. And you are fairly certain that at any moment, this thing is just gonna get up and go.
Okay. Mira, why don't you... I'm gonna back up. Why don't you try to make it comfortable? And like, Bren's gonna put his hands up, and then still like kind of making himself really small, like mimicking a cowering thing, and backing up. Maybe you got like a good 10 feet.
Okay. See, there in this circumstance, I think it's fairly obvious that it wasn't quite as afraid until you joined the picture. But since you're doing that, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do either a performance or a persuasion check to try to let this creature know that you are doing your best not to be threatening to it.
Both are the same, so we'll go persuasion. We'll go persuasion.
Okay. I mean, we don't get to see Bren doing interpretive dance?
We can do performance. Yeah. That's a 19 on a performance. So he's like, oh,
Nice.
oh, like
yeah.
it's pretty good.
Yeah, totally, 100%. You're nailing the I am not here to eat you, I am not threatening at all aspect. You're able to back away, and it just kind of watches you. 80 has a really good passive insight, right?
15.
Yeah. 80 kind of sees a strange tick of its head as it watches Bren do this, and she starts to feel an emotion from this thing. She starts to feel curiosity, but it's only there for like a split second before it's gone. That's when she realizes that she wasn't sensing emotions from it before. She only got it for the briefest of moments.
Ooh. That's interesting. It has emotions, I guess. Sort of.
Like, other than fear?
It was curious. And now probably just afraid again, but yeah.
Try to talk to it, like from behind something.
What's Vi doing during all of this? Because I think at this point enough time has gone by that even if Vi was in the middle of doing something else, she would have at least noticed something strange going on about her companions. So,
I think Vi is rummaging around in other crates and boxes. And if she saw Jawline go over, she'd probably just take a peek, but then just let 80 and Mira do whatever it is they're doing, and continue just to rummage into other crates and boxes and see if she can find anything interesting.
okay. Is Vi trying to hide her presence from this creature?
Yeah, she doesn't want to be imposing. She's been a little bit more internal recently, so I don't think she's trying to be as excited as everybody else.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a stealth check then, please.
It's a natural 1 for 6.
You have an advantage if you want to use it.
Also,
No,
take a guidance.
I think
Like, take a guidance too.
It's a
tracks.
natural one.
I think this
There's no
tracks.
point.
Anything helps.
Yeah, so as you guys are doing this, all of a sudden from off to the side, you all hear a no, as Vi, one of the crates that you were digging through, being very quiet. No one could hear a thing until you yelled out as you inadvertently moved something and sent an entire crate with what appeared to be cloth inside, maybe extra clothes or something. You weren't quite sure. You didn't get far enough to find out exactly what was in it. You sent it tumbling down the mountainside, and there's this echoing crash, boom, that kind of reverberates with all of the sounds of the storm song as it descends a couple thousand feet down the mountainside.
Sorry,
Everyone
guys.
kind of stops and looks over at Vi.
Oh, all good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vi's face just gets so red in this moment as everybody is staring at her.
80
For what
will
it's
look
worth.
away.
For what it's worth, the small metallic creature seemed more interested in what had fallen than Vi. You notice that it kind of is up on its feet. It's still like hunched down and like sitting basically on the balls of its feet. And it's kind of like craning its head up, trying to look over a nearby crate at what might have fallen.
Was that yours? Do you have friends?
It turns and looks back at you, and its head kind of tilts to the side again. And you notice that it is perfectly the exact same amount of tilt as it was the first time that you spoke to it.
Can you understand me?
No response.
I don't know. Do you have anything in your pockets that we can...
Could I roll an investigation to see if there's anything in these crates or boxes that might help?
Sure. Go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Would this be considered a creature? Or were we going full construct here?
I mean, constructs are technically creatures.
Mm-hmm.
If you're thinking about using what I think you are looking at, it really depends on what its mental statistics are as to whether or not it counts for such a thing.
Okay. I'm going to try it. I'm going to use Mind Link with it. I'm not going to get any closer to it, but I'm just going to... And then kind of send the thought
What's
of like...
Your range on Mind Link at this level is 15?
It's 30 feet.
Oh, 30. Right, 30. Okay. Yeah. Cool. What'd you get on your investigation check, Andrew?
I got a 19.
Okay. You start rummaging through things. You don't find anything that you believe would be helpful to whatever this immediate circumstance is. However, you do get a little bit firmer understanding of like what is here in regards to the supplies and such. It harkens back to you. Vi experiences a flashback of sorts. She is reminded of when she helped load her father's barge whenever he was going on a long riverboat journey. He would always stock up on things that he would need for that journey, whether it be to trade or if they ran into inclement weather or if some river beast attacked or, some part broke down on the barge. These are all things that you would take with you on such a journey. So you get that even though you don't find anything directly related to whatever this metal person is. Ian, please remind me, is there any kind of, does the creature have to be willing? Is there any kind of save or anything attached to it?
No. So, as an action, you're speaking telepathically to a creature. You can give that creature the ability to speak telepathically to you for the next hour or until the effect is ended as an action. There's no save. There's no nothing. It kind of just happens.
Right. And if I recall correctly, it doesn't need to understand your language. It just needs to understand a language, correct?
Yeah. You don't need to share a language with the creature for it to understand. But the creature must be able to understand at least one language. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Cool. What do you tell it?
I go, like telepathically, Bren goes, "Hello, we're friends. What's your name?"
As soon as the telepathic link is established, and it does establish with the creature, there isn't any resistance, there isn't any weirdness. This is definitely a creature, even if it doesn't fit Bren's usual standards of being alive. As soon as the telepathic link forms, it stands up to full height and looks directly at Bren. And now that you see it kind of unfold and stand up to full height, you realize that it's like 5 feet tall. It's lanky. It doesn't have a whole lot of mass to it from a physical size perspective. If you remember the battle droids in Star Wars, they were super scrawny, but they were very tall and they could fold into tiny positions, right? That's kind of what this metallic person seems to be able to do. And as soon as it stands up to its full height and it points its face towards Bren, it's transfixed. It stands up and then doesn't move. And it just is standing there staring at Bren because of its dark eye sockets and no eyes. You guys all just have this visual of this thing looking at Bren wide-eyed, even though, you know, there's no facial expressions or anything to kind of work off with that. AD does not pick up any new emotion from it either. It's like a blank canvas when it comes to her ability to sense it. But with this mind link established and Bren asking what its name is, you hear back first a word that you do not understand in your mind. And then almost like a quarter of a second, half a second out of sync with that word, you hear Tig.
Hello, Tig. I'm Bren.
Hello, Bren.
Out loud. He's about to say something out loud, then he goes back in his brain. His, he, him.
He just kind of tilts his head to the side.
Got it. Out loud. Their name is Tig.
Tig?
Yeah, that's what they said. It was a little bit garbly there in the beginning, but then it came out to Tig.
Hi, Tig.
Everyone says hello.
Kind of looks at each of you in turn, pausing for just a few moments. Doesn't say anything else to you, Bren, or out loud.
You meant telepathically. You're safe with us. We're not here to cause you any harm. We just happen to pass by. Are you okay? Are you... Looks up and down, damaged?
It kind of looks down at itself, looks back up at you, and just nods.
Can we help?
Shakes his head side to side.
Ask him if he has any friends.
Do you have any friends close by? Or
if you
at
could,
all?
There is an immediate sense of emotional sadness that comes from it that 80 picks up on, and the rest of you are able to see its tiny metallic shoulders like slump, and it just kind of
Out loud. That wasn't a good one.
Can you ask it what it's doing up here in the mountains with a bunch of crates of food and supplies for a long trip?
Would it be obvious to discern that obviously these crates crashed here, and it's a possibility that Tig crashed with these crates just by the way the display is, where everything's like tossed around?
I mean, based on the way you guys ended the last session and looking at the obvious physical deformities in its metal, and kind of the grime and the such, he's not with this pile of debris. There's scorch marks on him. There's smudges as if he had rubbed up against something that had char upon it, and it came off on his body. There is, like, you know how when glass that has been in a fire gets the gets black, even if it wasn't necessarily exposed directly to the heat, but because of the smoke that kind of permeated around it, it just kind of colors the glass. He has some of that across his form as well.
Cool. Back telepathically. Tig, how did you get here?
There's a moment of hesitation, and you can kind of see in the way it tilts its head as if it's thinking, and it takes a long time for it to do that, and you're not sure if that's because of it just being slow or if it's trying to perform some kind of subterfuge in its response, but it takes a moment before it can formulate a response. And as it's speaking, you hear that same kind of weird, almost like static foreign words in your mind that are out of sync with the words that you do actually understand. And you hear it say, "Fall from sky."
He said he fell here from the sky.
Do you think... I mean, did he come from a meteor? No.
Tig, what were you doing before you fell?
There's another hesitation, and it takes a lot longer for it to respond this time. And eventually, that same kind of staticky speaking occurs in your mind, offset ever so slightly by the voice that you do understand. And you hear it say, "Bird crashed." Magic storm.
Mira,
Journey onward.
do you still have that book of runes? You know where you said you saw the rune for help? Maybe that's
Of course.
Maybe that's how we could talk to Tig.
Maybe. I mean, I don't understand a lot of what's in there. We could show him, and if he understands writing, I don't know. I'll pull out both the manifest that we found of all of the contents of the crates and also the book that I carry everywhere and just sort of hold them out.
So, for what it's worth, you didn't find a manifest that you can carry with you. There was manifests written onto the sides of the box.
Oh, okay.
Right? But as soon as you pull it out, you open the book. It takes you a second to find the page that you were looking for. And Mira experiences a moment of concern when she starts being able to read more things on the page. Or the letters that previously had been unknown to her start to become apparent in her mind as to what they mean. You think that would be enough to give her pause? Would she react in any way to that realization?
Not immediately. She would just kind of stare at the page for a bit, and like try to file it away because she wants she's really torn between what to do, but she wants to keep connecting with Tig. And so I think she would be like, all right, I can't handle this now. I gotta.
What emotions would 80 pick up on then?
Surprise?
Surprise, surprise.
So file that away, Beth. Also,
Okay.
thank you, Varlby Chen, for the donation of bits. Everyone has another advantage, guys. Isn't that
Thank
awesome?
you.
Yes.
Thank you. Pretty sure they're going to start needing those in a bit. Anyway, as Mira has this realization that she can understand more in the book, she also picks up on very, very significant similarities between the writing on the sides of the crates, the manifests, and the writing in the book. It's not the same language, but it's close. Definitely from the same region, we'll say.
I will turn it around so some of the pages are facing Tig. Brent, ask him if he can read this. If he understands it.
Tig, can you read what's in that book? Do you understand what that means?
Tig kind of looks hesitantly, like it doesn't move towards Mira. It just
I would
kind of
take a
stands
couple
there.
of steps closer, unless, like, I would take a couple of steps, and if Tig starts to tense up, I would stop. But I would take a couple of steps closer to, and try to point at the symbol for help.
Let's have Bren make a persuasion check with assistance from Mira in this. So you have advantage on it.
That's a nat 20 for a 21.
Well, okay then. Yeah. So there's pause, of course, from Tig as it looks back and forth between Bren and Mira and Bren and Mira. And then it looks down at the book. And as she takes a couple of steps closer towards Tig takes a couple of steps closer towards her. You see it lift up one of its hands, and you can tell as you see its hands, by the way, that they have full articulation. It's got 5 fingers, seems like kind of skeletal in a way. And you can also tell that there is a huge range of motion in its hand. Like the fingers are flexing back in a way that almost makes you kind of wince a little bit. That your hand would be in pain if it did that, but its hand doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't seem to have a problem with it. And it kind of plops a finger down on the page, and as it does so, Mira, like, you feel force behind that plop. You're kind of surprised. You have to like double hold on to your already heavy book because you were not expecting the amount of weight that was behind that touch. And then it points at the rune that you're pointing at, and then in your mind, Bren, you hear the garbled text and help.
He said help. He said the word help. Tig, did you send that? Did you do that?
It looks up at Mira and then thinks to Bren. No.
It wasn't him. He didn't send the...
Does he know who did?
Tig, do you know who sent the help signal?
Yes.
Who sent the help signal, Tig? And where are they?
You hear this long, drawn-out master, and its shoulders slump, and its head slumps, and it immediately just looks like sad. Like,
I'm gonna try to give it a hug.
It is the epitome of sad. in front of Mira.
I'm gonna try to give it a hug.
Okay. You kind of close the book and put it under one shoulder, and you reach out and cautiously like give it a hug. It doesn't respond. It doesn't move or anything, but it doesn't fight you off.
So here's what we know. He said he fell from a big bird because of a magical storm, and they were on a journey. He does know the help symbol. When I asked him who, he got real sad when he said master.
Can you ask if he knows what the smoke is?
Okay.
Pointing to the distance.
We'll put that in my pocket. Do we have any other questions? We could probably
I have so many questions.
any right now questions. Right.
Does it need anything right now to make it feel better? Like food or water or?
I have an answer for that already. He said he was damaged, but we can't help. I think it's emotional.
Say it. Say it.
I think it's emotional damage. Just kind of putting they're sad about their master, which I don't think they're alive, or they don't think they are. Tig, do you know where that smoke? That sounds like a weird question. Do you know anything about that smoke? Did you come from that? Pointing in the distance.
I'm assuming Mira has kind of pulled off of her hug. It's been looking at Mira while you guys were kind of discussing all of this. And then it turns its head towards Bren and just says telepathically, yes.
Yeah, he's he's part of this. So this is all the same thing.
Do you think he could take us there?
Or we could take him?
Want to? Do you? Just kind of taking a step back.
Does
here.
he?
You?
Well, is he just gonna stay here? What else is he? I don't want to leave him here.
This is super heavy.
If his master is lost or gone.
I think we can discern that he's gone. I'll ask.
Okay.
I'll ask.
I don't know.
Tig, is your master gone? Did your master die? We're just gonna go for it.
Yes.
That's what Bryn does. He looks back and he's like, did your master die where that smoke is?
Yeah.
Tig, would you be okay in taking us to the smoke so that we can see if we can save anyone?
AD picks up a momentary sense of confusion as it takes a very long time to formulate a response for Bren. But then it fades away back into void, no emotions, and it turns to Bren and says, yes. And then it immediately turns away from all of you and starts digging through the materials.
He agreed to take us to the smoke.
It seems to actively be searching for something at this point.
What's he looking for?
I don't
help
know.
him?
He just started doing it. Tig, what are you looking for? Can we help?
It pauses, thinks, responds, weapon, and then goes back to work.
He says he's looking for a weapon. What does it look like, Tig? Just start like looking on the ground, like.
Vi, have you seen any weapons?
Vi has, in fact, at the response to that, you at one point did come across 2 different crates that were loaded with arms and armaments, the kind of thing that you would use if you were defending something flying at you, most likely, crossbows and light armor and helmets.
Did it go over the side of the cliff?
No, it was
great.
not the thing.
Yeah, and
That was like a box of trade silk, basically, that went over.
okay.
Dang.
Yeah, I'll point over to a crate. I saw some crossbows and bolts and armor over there. I don't know if that's what he's looking for specifically.
Well, let's try that. Like, let's go grab some and bring it over.
Does he know if the place where the smoke is coming from, if it has what he needs to help fix him?
I don't know. We've asked a lot of Tig right now. I'll ask.
Yeah, no,
but,
fair enough.
Yeah, let's try to get them what they need, and then kind of go into the direction where that box of armaments and stuff are at.
Yeah, you find it easily enough. It's not too far from Tig. As you go over to the box and you start looking through it, you kind of watch Tig for a second, and you can see that Tig is meticulously searching every little thing in a pattern. He goes to one section of debris, inspects it thoroughly, puts it down, continues forward a couple of steps, finds another section of debris, lifts it. If he was looking for a crossbow, that would not be how you would do it. But at the same time, you also get this sense that there's more to what he's doing than just looking for a weapon.
They doing the lifeguard scan thing. Would it be too much to say that Bren notices that there's some armor in there, and he's like, I probably should put on one of these?
80 was going to suggest that and just say, hey, you've been, kind of torn open a few times recently. Maybe you should,
Yeah, no, it's not lost on Bren. He's like, I mean, we've got the opportunity.
You find some very, very well-made studded leather armor, as well as a couple of chain shirts. There's a good bit of armor that is not necessarily salvageable unless you're an armorer, and you could maybe piece some together that got fairly well damaged in the whatever crash. But there's certainly enough there that you could put on either some studded leather armor or a chain shirt, your choice.
Cool. Thank you.
What are you doing, Vi?
There we go.
Honestly, Vi is just kind of watching Tig do their thing, just kind of existing at this moment.
The way you've kind of described Vi to me previously, Vi's a little bit of a scavenger.
Yeah.
As Vi is watching Tig, she sees what Tig is doing. It is scavenging. It's going through things systematically, cataloging them in its mind, and moving on to the next thing. Obviously seeking something specific, but it's a scavenger.
Could I take the box with the crossbows and put it next in queue right beside him? Or
Absolutely.
beside them?
You absolutely do that. The entire crate is a little bit much for Vi to lift, but Vi is able to take a couple of crossbows and put them into like a smaller crate that just had some like bedrolls in it, and then move that over in front of Tig. And then sure enough, a couple of seconds later, Tig reaches the box, stands up, looks through the box thoroughly, counts the number of things that are in it, and then reaches down and pulls out one of the crossbows. You can see that each crossbow has a quiver of bolts that are kind of lashed to the crossbow itself, and you see it deftly and adroitly load like the crossbow with a bolt, and just kind of stands up holding the crossbow and turns and looks at the four of you.
Oh, so it wants to go.
Yeah, it's about it. Bryn walks over with his chain shirt. He looks like Johnny Depp from Nightmare on Elm Street. just like it's cropped right there.
Yes.
I saw that. I wasn't gonna let that pass. I want to grab one of the crossbows too. I mean, if we're as Bryn being like the group dad, he's like, hey, if this is what we're doing.
Okay. It does occur to Bren as he is picking up the crossbow, you're rapidly running out of light. You've got maybe just a few minutes left, actually, of light in the sky before things get very dark. Now, you're high up in the mountains. It's a fairly clouded night. The light from the moons is decent, but you would be traveling in very low light conditions if you did journey up the mountain right now. It's worth mentioning that.
I think we should. We have a name. Now we have help. I think we should take this opportunity to kind of regroup. We'll make base camp here. There's stuff everywhere, so it shouldn't be that hard. And then we'll journey on in the morning.
I think you have to tell that to Tig because...
No, I have to tell that to you guys first, because if I don't, I'll blink, and then all of a sudden...
We're better now.
Only if you tell us not to go.
We're better now. I'm in the mountains with a crossbow and a half-chain shirt. Because you're better now.
Noted. I'll sit down.
And then I'm gonna turn to Tig and convey that, Tig, we're gonna rest now, and then we'll go in the morning. You should stay here with us until then.
Tig contemplates this for a moment, doesn't respond, and then you see it adroitly unload the crossbow, put the bolt back into the quiver, and take this heavy crossbow and sling it onto its back, and then go back to cataloging.
I like Tig. Like to everyone, I really like Tig.
I know.
Yeah. I'm gonna start a fire. You guys don't get in any trouble, please.
For what it's worth, Ian, Brandon doesn't know how to actually use a heavy crossbow.
We're gonna figure out that when we get to it. I saw Tig pick it up after he said he needs a weapon, so like I'm just following my boy.
All
right. Fair enough.
Mira's gonna kind of dig through some stuff if we're not going anywhere, and she'll look for some armor as well. So if there's some studded leather armor that would fit Mira, she would try it on.
Conveniently enough, there are multiple sizes of studded leather armor, but the multiple size, it's worth mentioning that she doesn't pick up the small set, right? Like she just grabs a set, and it is so well crafted that it is easily adjustable to fit well onto her form. But she also spots that there's a couple of suits of studded leather armor in there that would be for small folk.
Seems like there were several types of people with Tig. There's different sizes of armor.
Should we bring some with us? It might sound silly. I know carrying more is kind of difficult, but if there are people over there...
From like 10 feet away, you just hear, "Yes, put on the armor."
I mean, if it's here, we might as well let it go to waste. We could bring some back to sell too. That'd be nice, but it could be a lot to carry.
I'm gonna pop out some dancing lights, low lights, just to help task lighting for anyone who's digging around.
Jawline, as Tig is cataloging, can you ask them to flag any potions? I think we forgot to pick some up when we left the city. I think that'd be kind of helpful.
Yeah, I can do that. Anything else on the shopping list, ladies?
Have we seen anything that like we don't recognize?
That's an interesting question. You don't necessarily see anything that you don't recognize, but everything is styled very differently from the Imperium, particularly the armor. Whereas the Imperium armor goes for an equal amount of power and visual aesthetic designed to instill fear and authority, everything about what you are encountering arms and armament-wise is about functionality and durability more than anything else. Very well made, very well crafted. Even the pieces that are damaged from whatever fall took place, you find still semi-functional, in fact, just based on the quality of the material and the craftsmanship. The bedrolls are strange in just the way that they're knit, the kind of fabric that it is, the coloration, the dyes that were used in things that you find. Even the crates seem constructed in a different way. Like, for example, in the Imperium, every crate that you find, the slats are all cut at diagonals for structural purposes. And these slats use different, depending upon what side it is. It's either horizontal or vertical. And so there's just an overall feel of alienness amongst what you're wading through, what you're digging through. It's not normal. I'll leave you to decide if you feel that your character would feel that it's wrong. That's entirely up to you, but it's definitely alien to what you would know.
Hey, if anybody finds any clothes, my good shirt got, kind of torn to ribbons when I was almost dead. And I'll keep looking too.
I would have found a few things, spare clothes and such, certainly that could be given to 80.
I guess after communicating to Tig, if there's anything like medicine, health potions, what have you, to kind of collect those for the journey.
As soon as you ask that question, Tig stops what they are doing, turns and looks at a different place, not one that you had seen them go to before, which implies that it had been here doing this before you arrived and had investigated some portion of this wide swath of debris. And it goes over and retrieves a crate for you. You notice that when it goes and retrieves this crate is substantially larger than Tig. Like, as Tig's arms wrap around it, it is more or less at the edges of Tig's handling. Like, Tig can wrap its arms around it, but you don't see Tig anymore when it picks up this crate with ease and turns and starts walking towards you. It comes over to you specifically, Bren, and sets it down in front of you. And when it sets it down, you hear a distinct heaviness to it setting it down. Whatever strength you might have thought this creature had, there is no comparison. It is noticeably stronger than what its visual appearance would let on. And as the crate gets set down, Bren, you can see that the top of it is open, and you look down inside. There's some waterlogging taking place that's here from, like, maybe some rains that had been in the mountain, this high up in the mountains a few days ago. You see a huge array of herbalism kits and medical kits and a few potion satchels and the like, all inside of this. And you notice very distinctly, actually, that there is this almost fluid-like padding that is all around the inside of this crate. You've never seen anything like it before.
I really like Tig. Wow. Yeah, Tig's coming back to the farm. Okay, cool. Vi, you want to take a look at this with me?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool. Let me start going through it. I want to take a piece of the fabric and kind of like
it's padding.
Or the padding.
It's not quite the same. As you go and like take a piece and kind of tug on it, it's adhered to the inside of the crate. And you start to pull on it, trying to tear a piece of it away, and it just kind of stretches in your hand, and it's almost goopy in a way. And you kind of let it go, and it kind of snaps back into place. It's goop. For anyone, it's okay. Goop.
Oh, okay. Never mind. Because my brain went. Might want to use this later.
My brain went to flubber.
That's where I went to. I was just like, might want to get some of this.
I'll put some on my shoes.
I'm going to dip over to 80 and Mira for a sec, but before I do that, I will mention that as you guys are investigating this, it's basically medicine kits and herbalism kits out the butt and a lot of potions. However, every potion that you pick up only has ash inside of it.
So they're no good.
You would assume. So
just add water.
What are 80 and Mira doing at this point?
80 doesn't know what to do. She's moving the lights to follow anyone who's searching for things, and contemplating what it might mean that she's gotten a couple of weird flashes of emotion from Tig and then nothing else, because that's pretty foreign to her.
Where do you think all this stuff is from?
I have no idea. I mean, it looks like materials in a caravan or something, but Tig said that they fell.
From a bird? I don't...
Maybe we're misunderstanding their language or something.
That could be. Oh. And Mira will pull out the book and see what she can read from the page that she had recognized earlier that she could read more of.
Okay. As you were doing that, 80, you recognize the trait when Mira gets lost in her books.
Mm-hmm.
The emotions are there. You see the telltale signs. You've lost her. You're not going to be able to get anything from her for at least 5 or 6 minutes, maybe longer, because it's this book. So that means, maybe 10 or 20.
Yep.
I'm assuming that this is when 80 gets some new clothes and such.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The clothes are. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The clothes are unlike anything she has dealt with before or seen before. They are equal parts utilitarian and durable and well made, but there is no originality to them. They're like workman's clothes. They're nondescript. They're, as far as 80's concerned anyway, very boring.
It's okay, I can pull it off. I'll collect some stuff. I'll put a couple of piles out if I find things that might fit the rest of the group. And then I think if Tig is still sort of rifling through things, I think once Mira gets lost in her head in her book, I would go kind of sit next to Tig and just sort of observe their process and really try to reach out and feel anything from them, because she can't get it out of her head that this is not what she's used to.
Okay. She continues to get no emotion at all from Tig.
Sure.
However, in sitting and observing Tig for 10, 15, 20 minutes, because Tig doesn't stop. Tig continues to do what it was doing. She comes to understand that it has a kind of intelligence. There is something there. It's just beyond her capability to rationalize. And at some point, she almost starts to feel sorry for it.
Okay.
So, back to Deb. Give me an Arcana check, please.
$16.
You find yourself enraptured by the words that are coming out of the pages that you had previously not been able to understand. There's not a lot of coherence to the words. You're not getting full sentences or the like, but you're seeing commonalities in the writing. You're seeing words that make sense. You're seeing things in a new light, in a way that you had never seen previously. You've spent years with this book at this point. You have had many, many sleepless nights trying to understand this book. And now, finally, in opening it, it's starting to make sense. Do me a favor and roll an intelligence saving throw.
$19.
Okay. You are almost overwhelmed by the understanding as it hits you. Loomis is granting this to you. Previously, you had fought so hard to try to understand these things. And you had long ago given up your calls for aid from the Ascendant. And yet you can feel his warmth and light in you right now as you're reading these things. And it's starting to make sense. He's helping you. You don't know what changed necessarily. You don't know why now and why not before. But he is. Actively.
I'm gonna pull out the diamond and just hold it and stare at it. And I'm gonna grip it almost so tightly that it cuts into my hand. Because I'm torn between the feelings of warmth and excitement of being able to understand this and knowing that Orlumis is granting this, and frustration at all of the time I feel I wasted trying to figure it out.
80 picks up on this emotion from the 40 or 50 feet away that she is from Mira. She feels it from that far away. She looks over and she can see the gem in Mira's hand and the obvious struggle in Mira's expression.
I'll go over next to Mira and kind of just like I did trying not to frighten Tig, I'll sit next to Mira, just sort of like sitting back on my heels. What's going on?
I'll look up at you, but it's almost like I'm looking through you or past you.
I'll just put my hand on top of your hand that's squeezing the stone.
Orlumis is helping me again. And it's great. And I hate it.
Yeah. It can be both things.
I know.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I'd love to see this as a gift. I mean, it seems to be helpful for you. But you could tell I'm really pissed off at the Ascendant.
Yours is a gift. Mine is a burden.
That's not fair.
I felt your gift, though. I felt it. It's beautiful.
I mean, it's felt like a burden. A lot. If you want, if it would help uncomplicate some of the feelings, I can be mad at Orlumis on your behalf, if that would make things any easier.
I heard about 2 minutes of your conversation with Vi about our enmeshment, so that I feel like Vi probably wouldn't love that for us.
Probably not.
I'll work through it.
It's okay
Hey,
to
maybe-
be pissed off, you know.
Maybe we can find our own magic bird to take us somewhere.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised at this point. A lot has happened.
Yeah.
I'll look at the book. Anything good in there?
Yeah, I'm still working through it, but it's complicated and beautiful, and I don't know. There's something here. I don't know what it means yet, but the pieces are fitting together more.
Well, that's good. I mean, it's about time.
I know.
As Mira kind of holds the book in her hands and she's kind of like looking at a couple of the pages, she flips a page and the entire page glows with a light that only she can see for just a brief moment. And the words that are written in this foreign language morph and change into arcane symbols that she understands. The kinds of arcane symbols that she has spent years studying and researching. And she realizes almost instantly there's a ritual spell there to summon a floating disc. It's a spell that she has understood to exist. She's seen other magic users using it, and now she knows that spell.
I'm immediately going to start casting it.
Okay. And while you do that, thank you so much, Chaotic Good Gaming, for the donation of bits. You guys have another advantage. Yeah, 80, you watch as Mira starts gathering a few. She starts grabbing a few things from the debris that she recognizes that she can use as part of this ritual, and begins to perform a ritual spell in front of you. Ian and Andrew, what are Bren and Vi getting up to in this moment?
There's a lot of stuff in here. There's a lot of herbs, herbalist kits, and some medical stuff. And then he picks up one of the bottles and he goes, "There's nothing but ash in these."
When you look over at Vi, she's just kind of, she's not really listening to what you're saying. She's sitting by the fire. Her face is kind of buried behind her knees, and she's just watching Tig do his thing, and is just kind of entranced by it. She's hearing you, but she's not. It doesn't seem like she's there. It seems like she's processing.
The bird's gonna go over and kind of sit next to her and watches Tig do their thing too, and not really looking at Vi, but goes like, "What's going on?"
Jalen, how, you know, when we first came into the woods and Mira, it was a lot when we were attacked by that drake.
Yeah.
Mira, went unconscious, you turned into something that I've never seen. How does that feel?
It's a tough question to ask. I'll be very honest with you, Vi. I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel good, but not for any bad reason.
How did you feel right before it happened?
Very afraid. But I wasn't really afraid of what was going to happen to me. I was more so afraid of what could have happened to you. To all of you.
Fuck.
Well, no, I just and kind of realizing what he said and how it could have come off. Well, no, don't. I mean, it's not a guilty thing. It's more so of in that moment, for the first time in a long time, there was something that was more important than my farm, my animals, myself. It was the three of you. And I was afraid of not being able to protect the three of you in that moment.
Fuck, Jawline.
What? What did I mess up again?
No.
Did I?
When we... No, it's... Fuck.
Hey, come on. Spit it out, Vi.
When we were fighting... when we were fighting that manticore, and I saw 80 and Mira unconscious, I was so scared. I don't know if you've noticed, but I've been scared since we've been out here. I know I'm normally pretty calm and cool and collected, but this has kind of shattered my confidence. And when I saw my friends unconscious, when I saw you carry them and run away from danger, I wasn't scared for myself anymore. Like you're saying, I was scared for you. I was scared for 80. I was scared for Mira, and I didn't give a fuck about myself. And then I felt all of that come out the tip of my fingers, and when I pulled my sword out, I felt it all drain into my blade, and in that moment there was a flash, and I didn't know what was happening. And if that's how you feel when you're able to use your powers, I don't know what that means for me. I don't know.
Hey, no, it's like Bryn grabs their hand and just kind of like clasp it.
You don't understand.
No, well, I think I have a pretty good idea. It's scary. It's so scary. All of this is new to you. Hell, some of this is new to me. And if you could just see the amount of growth that you've had from the Drake to the Manticore that I see, you'd be just as proud of yourself as I am of you. That's strength, Vi. That's strength.
Jawline, though, I don't think you get it. And she'll pull down her hood and you'll see her clipped ears. And she'll say, it's not fair, Jawline. It's not fair. I've had to go through life treated like shit. Treated as if I was dangerous, treated as if I had these powers, and I had one thing to hold on to, and that was that everybody else was wrong. Their assumptions and judgments of me were wrong. They can treat me like shit, they could throw me out of stores, they could not serve me, but I could flip them the fulcrum and be like, you're the fucking asshole. Who are you to judge me? And if it turns out that they were right, that they could clip my ears when I didn't have powers, and now I'm manifesting them, I don't know who I am anymore.
I do. You're my buddy. My little sneaky rogue who is a damn good baker. You're a person who comes and checks on an old farmer when he's hiding himself away to make sure that he just eats. You're honest, you're trustworthy. And yeah, they are wrong. And they will always be wrong. Because from what I've seen out here and what I know of you before this, they're not worth less than half of what you are. They can scud off.
Right.
Just, yeah. The moment you let everyone else determine who you are to be, that's the moment that they're right. That's the moment that you lose. No one cares what they think. All that matters is what you think. And he kind of like big chunky finger to the chest. It's what you think. And it's what the people you love think. Keep honest with yourself and be true by them. That's what it is.
It's really, really nice, Jawline. I'm still so scared.
And that's fine. Unfortunately, that doesn't go away. But it does get easier. And after a while, that feeling of being scared turns into confidence, understanding, wisdom. Kind of like, you know. But it never really goes away. It's good you're scared. It means you're smart. It means you're on your toes. It means you can't be taken advantage of.
I just care about you guys a lot. And I'm scared of losing you all.
Yeah, well. Gonna take more than a couple of drakes and some ascendants and dragons and manticores and that other thing. I forgot that it was. Whatever that puff of smoke over there has got for us, it's going to take a lot more than that for at least me to go anywhere. And I'm pretty sure 80 and Myriad will take twice as much to get rid of them too.
Promise?
Yes, I promise.
Vi will spit in her hand and hold it out to Jawline.
I really, this is not sanitary. And then he does it back. Yeah. Did Vi get any armor? Did they put on any armor?
Was there any that fit? I don't know.
Yeah, there was some tiny one.
Oh yeah,
I guess
100%.
Brent notices that like everyone else kind of geared up a little bit, and he's like, listen, if you're going to be around a little bit longer, which I know you are, you're going to need one of these. And he takes out one of the smaller ones and he kind of puts it over, tightens it up around the side. Is that all right?
Yeah,
Is
I
that too
think so.
tight? Okay. It's nice. Big old pat on the back. Look at you. Now you're 3 times as strong as you were before.
She like almost
You're
falls
hella
over.
strong to start with.
Thanks, Jawline.
Anytime. I'm here. Well, stands up again. I'm gonna go get a couple of these herbalist kids. I'm hungry. Are you hungry? I'm hungry. Are you hungry?
We could eat for sure.
I'm gonna make some soup.
Oh, God.
From 50 feet away, watching in your direction, 80 just sits there, her eyes wide as saucers and full of tears, and is just just watching. Not hearing any of it, but I'm feeling it all.
I haven't paid attention to anything, and there's just this now sudden massive floating disc. Hey, I don't think we have to worry about how heavy things are anymore.
Shh.
What? What did I?
I will say if 80 is still picking up on everyone's emotions, or at least like a little bit of it, from Bren, you feel deep concern and like a very strong worry. As he goes, like, gets like potatoes and stuff or whatever he got to go make soup.
I hate it. Okay.
What did I miss?
No.
I missed something.
You're perfect. This is great. There was something really nice happening.
Okay. Is everybody okay?
I don't know. Probably not.
Oh. Okay. But I can do this now.
So cool. Can I sit on the disc?
Yeah.
Can you spin it in a circle like it's a playground thing?
Yes.
Amazing.
We're just 80 and Mira are just over like being absolute playground goons while these two are
Yeet it off the
recovering from their.
mountainside.
Like Brent for sure sees that, and he's just like,
Oh my god.
Not only does he see
You
that, he
promised.
also sees that like 15 feet away from them is like a cliff off the mountainside.
Hey girls, can we magically float over there?
Yes,
Okay.
Wow. Yay. Let's keep it over there. Let's see how long we can keep it away from the cliff.
look. Oh yeah, I didn't. Oh, thanks, Dad.
You're doing great, sweetie.
Nice. So,
Oh.
Bren is able to use supplies from scavenging from this pile of debris to put together a nice campfire soup stew. Nightfall has fully set in at this point. The dancing lights, the fire, they all keep things fairly well illuminated for you. I'm assuming that you guys go about setting up watches and such. Whoever takes the first watch. Don't all raise your hand at once.
I'll do it.
You sure
80?
you got it? You gonna take
Yeah.
the first one?
Bryn sets up like a king size bedroll with all the extra stuff that he found.
Oh yeah.
He's like, oh yes.
Yeah, there's enough bedrolls that you guys can lay down extra bedrolls for additional padding, which is great because a couple of reasons. A, it's the fucking mountains. This is not exactly soft ground to lay on. And B, you're several thousand feet up in the air at this point. And even though it's spring, it's still cold. The Storm-Song Mountains are windy. It's a bit chilly. Even with the fire going, you guys have you guys welcome the benefit of the additional bedrolls and blankets and such. And as you all settle in to your new bedrolls and such, you notice almost immediately, every single one of you is able to notice the quality of these goods compared to what you're used to. Now, 80 and Mira might have experienced at some point or another, because their family is, while not necessarily, super wealthy, they can afford good things. So this might not be an entirely new experience for them, but certainly it's a welcome experience and perhaps a reminder of what some teenage experience they had with the family, going on a road trip and, having to sleep on at a campsite at some point or another was like for them. It is, as Raven Serenite put it, a fair bit blustery and cold for all of you, but thanks to the bedrolls and the fire, you're able to keep warm just fine. As 80 is on her first watch, she's about 10-15 minutes into it. She notices very easily when her companions fall asleep because their emotional states change very clearly. And she is very startled during her watch as her companions all fall asleep, as she feels a tapping on her shoulder that she did not hear coming. And she turns and she sees Tig standing behind her, having tapped on her shoulder, having snuck up on her and tapped on her shoulder.
Hi. Everything okay?
Tig kind of points a finger at you and slowly lowers it to your chest and taps you right there on your chest, and then points at your bedroll.
Everyone's fucking telling me to go to sleep all the time. Tig, we just met. I don't take offense, but I can't just go to sleep and then Red will kill me. Figuratively, he's very nice.
Tig stands there unmoving, completely unable to understand everything that you've just said.
She doesn't care. She's still talking. I'll point to Tig's chest and tell Tig to sit down. I'll sit too, though. I just want to see if they'll sit with me.
Make a persuasion check using intelligence.
Cool. That is a dirty 20.
Okay. He understands it. He ponders it, you can see his head kind of tilt, or its head kind of tilt to the side, and it ponders it, and then it sits straight down. It's on its feet. It's bum kind of just barely grazing the ground, and its arms are basically wrapped around its knees.
That is so cute. I will hold my hand out, just sort of, I guess, like so that it's the weight of it is leaning against my leg, but it's out enough to hopefully acknowledge that I might want to have them like reciprocate having their hand out. Like I'm trying to see if there's like a mimicry element that we can work with.
Sure. Based on the dirty 20 that you had before, I think, it will mirrored. So if you hold out your right hand, it's holding its left hand, and it's exactly mirroring the position and like the way you're holding your hand, the turn, the curve of the fingers, everything. Yeah. It's exactly mirrored.
Yeah. And I'll like go through gestures and see what I can, I don't know, like see how long they'll continue to mimic me. And then eventually I will very carefully try to hold its hand. And
there's it fully mimics you for however long you continue to do that.
Okay.
Time is irrelevant to that circumstance. It will just continue to mimic you. And then you eventually try to reach out for its hand, and it tries to reach out for your hand. And there's this like awkward moment where it's trying to just mirror everything that you're doing until eventually you have to like use your other hand and stop its hand from moving. And and that is like, it takes enough, there's enough of a distraction there as it's trying to contemplate and process what's going on for you to be able to move your hand down and clasp its hand. And as you pull your hand away, it leaves its hand there, and its eye sockets are like focused on your two hands touching each other.
And I think I would like turn their hand so that their palm is facing up and just sort of rest my hand on top. I'm just trying to connect. And once I make like physical contact, again, I'll try to like reach out emotionally or open myself up to try to receive their emotions, knowing that it's unlikely, but I feel like I have to try.
Are you going to use your detect thoughts like ability?
I am, yes.
Okay. And I'm assuming you're going to try to probe its emotions?
Yes, I would like to probe the robot.
Phrasing. All right. So, as you open yourself up to this is a comfortable place for 80. She's done this countless other times to people that know of it and don't know of it. And as she reaches to make that emotional contact, to create that emotional tether with Tig, she is confronted by a wall of void. And it isn't like that there is no emotions now. It's that she is actively prevented from sensing anything from it.
Okay.
She doesn't get the sense of any maliciousness around this. But Tig is protected by such overt mental intrusions.
I know that it's not terribly expressive, but do I feel like that block is Tig intentionally blocking me, or do I feel like there is just a block in general?
It's the latter. You feel that there is just a block.
Okay. I'll pull back because I don't want to mess with that.
It doesn't react in any way.
Yeah.
Which that's another indication that it wasn't trying to do anything, because normally when a creature has been able to fight off that emotional connection, they know it. They know what you're doing. They can feel it. And usually they react poorly. And there's like no reaction at all from Tig.
Okay. I will pull out of my pocket. I've got a dice set. So I'll pull out the dice. I've got a few in my hand, and I'll put one in Tig's hand and just sort of see what they do with it.
Tig takes it in their hand and then adroitly tosses it up in the air, catches it between two fingers in the air, and then starts rotating their hand 360 degrees and twisting their fingers in horrifying, bone-breaking positions, analyzing every single tiny segment of this die in their hand after a few moments, holding it back out towards 80.
I'll roll one and then point at it.
You roll it. Tig reaches down, snags it up into the air, and does the exact same thing all over again, and then hands it back to 80.
We'll work on that. I think I'll just keep doing these tiny little weird interactions with Tig until the end of my watch.
Okay. As your watch is coming to an end, and you go to wake up Mira for a second watch, Tig places a hand on 80's arm and then points at her bedroll.
Okay. Thank you. And I'll go lay in my bedroll without waking Mira up, but I will lay there with my eyes wide open for as long as I'm able to before sleep takes over.
As soon as 80 lays down, she can see Tig. Tig is now basically standing in the center of all of you by the fire and pulls the heavy crossbow out and loads the heavy crossbow and is standing sentinel, slowly turning back and forth over all of you.
Nuts.
I love Tig. Tig is about it. Tig is about it.
Oh, yeah. I think I've been getting good vibes from Tig this whole time. I haven't really felt like anything.
You have not
concerning.
felt Murderbot.
Thank you. Yes, exactly. So,
for those of you that are wondering that reference, Google the Murderbot Chronicles. We all read the first book in that series recently, and it's amazing.
Yes, I'm not detecting Murderbot, so I will allow myself to fall asleep.
Morning comes. Bren, being the farmer, awakens first. The sun's light is just getting ready to crest over the eastern horizon. You can see the beginning rays starting to form, and Bren immediately knows that he was not awakened for a watch. He sits up and he sees Tig standing in the exact position that 80 left them, and they turn and regard Bren, just waiting, holding the heavy loaded heavy crossbow.
I think he's like, yeah, you were like that all night. Nice.
Gets up, does a stretch. I assume everybody's still sleeping, knowing their patterns. I would like. Bren would like to take a moment to kind of wake himself up, and he kind of walks off a little bit. I'm pretty sure it's still cold in the morning, so wraps himself up as best he can, and he takes a very short walk until he's enough good distance away from camp, not too far, but not a stone's throw away type deal. And he kind of stands there, he's thinking to himself, and out loud he goes, "If there's any ascendants that want to speak to me, it's welcomed right now."
Get no replies.
I assume so. Good. I don't really like you much. Your methods and your plans are your own, and you should keep them that way. These three shouldn't be involved. All of y'all can scud off. And, like, looks around a little bit more. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Then, like, walks back to camp.
As Bren turns to walk back to camp, a gust of wind kind of flies up behind him and like carries him up for a half a step, but then just continues through.
It's gonna take more than that. He keeps walking.
You all awaken slowly. Pretty much as soon as Bren came back to camp, Tig unloaded the crossbow, strapped it back to its back, and then went back about cataloging things. Muted. You're muted.
He's like, hey, everybody. He's like, it's the first day of school. Come on.
Oh.
Yeah, come on. Hey, you brought me out here. Now we have a goal. Come on.
The sun's
The goal to
barely
sleep
out.
more. Yep.
Nope.
It's still so cold.
Yep.
As you say that, Vi, the words barely come out of your mouth before Tig is walking back to the center of camp, and you see that one arm they have a small crate that they're basically just like one arming their way through, and then the other arm they have 3 chunks of wood. They're not logs. Like, you guys have basically been burning torn up fragments of crates and such. And they just toss that on the fire, and then they set the crate down and they open it up, and you see them like scan the inside of the crate and do their cataloging routine, very similar to what was going on with the die last night for 80. And they reach an arm in and they pull out this steel contraption. It's cylindrical. It's a percolator. And they set it down on the fire and they unscrew the top of it. And it's this heavy steel object, right? Nothing like anything that you all have seen before. And they unscrew the top of it and reach into the crate again and pull out this bag of this nondescript, like, brown bag, and just start dumping what appears to be beans into the top of it. And then they screw it back down on the top. And this time when they screw it back down on the top, they keep spinning it. And you can hear this grinding sound coming from inside of it. Bear in mind, this is all happening in the fire. So there's like fire licking up the side of this thing, like wafting over Tig, like scorching Tig's hands. And they just grind these beans. And you can start to hear this sound of boiling water from inside of the device. And then Tig just stops and stares at it.
We know what coffee is, right?
Is that coffee? Yeah.
We know what coffee is, right?
This you would have something similar to coffee in the Imperium, but not a percolator like this. Coffee in the Imperium is perhaps a little bit more like a French press style type of craft. This is a new way of doing this. You smell the familiar aromas coming from it.
Bryn's definitely like,
Tig knows it. Like, looking at everybody, Tig gets it.
Vice is up too.
Just like, I'm waiting happily.
You wait for just a little bit. Tig reaches back into the crate and pulls out several steel mugs, and then proceeds to pour the coffee. Now, I'm sure I'm going to lose a lot of fans, and we may have some people unfollow and unsubscribe from us. I do not particularly enjoy coffee, but I'm fairly certain that my companions do. So this description is more for them and for those of you watching. Imagine if you drank like Folgers every day of your life, and then you had some Brazilian, Argentinian blend coffee made fresh in front of you, and that was handed to you. That's the experience that you all have in this moment. As this brown liquid that has a familiar aroma, although still slightly strange, gets handed around to each of you.
If you had lips, I'd kiss you.
Oh, I thought about we should draw lips on it. I didn't.
You're so weird.
Being out here in the woods, I didn't obviously take any makeup with me because that would be silly. However, I did think that like maybe if Tick comes with us, I would just draw little lips or mouth on with, some lip stain and make it look friendly.
Isn't that a little disrespectful?
Mira, how dare you?
Well, no, I mean, first, wait. We should ask them first.
Maybe they want a mouth. I don't know.
Yeah. I will ask them after this.
But we don't have anything to make a mouth with yet. So maybe if I find something, then you can ask.
It's such a shame.
Would you have experienced this had we not dragged you out here? This is incredible.
It's quite a commute for a cup of coffee.
Are you speaking to me? I'm not paying attention.
I was, yes.
Oh, yeah. This is great. I'm having a lovely time. I wish it didn't.
It's fun. We're having fun.
We're great time.
80, we're having fun.
We're having so much fun. This is the most fun.
Bye. Are you having fun?
I'm waking up.
Yeah.
Mira's gonna scooch over next to Vi.
Oh God.
Mira's reacting very strangely to this coffee. I'm fairly certain that at least one of you is going to think it has somehow infected her mind.
I always give her decaf. Oh no.
You're very awake.
This is really good coffee. You said this whole thing wasn't going to be fun, and
Well, I'm glad you're having fun, Mira. That's good news. Hey, how long have you been away from school for?
Well over a week.
It's no longer
Oh
fun.
no. I've been gone for convocation. I missed it. Oh no. That's not good. Okay. I'm not gonna think about that. It's future Mira's problem.
What is it, like a school dance? A little party?
It's not a party. Basically, they force us all to go into the illuminated heart. They make us sit there on hard pews and listen to all of their clergy give propaganda speeches about how great the Imperium is and how great the Ascendant are. And I hate every minute of it. I have to go once a week. It's the whole day. It's horrible. And it's mandatory. And they take attendance and yeah.
I don't see a problem here that you missed that.
This sounds like a lot more fun.
Because they take it so seriously, and if you miss too many times, they will kick you out.
You know what's funny about what you just said? You know, it's like, at least I think it's funny.
I don't think there's anything funny about what I just said.
I do. You keep saying they think it's really important and they would be upset, but you didn't say we and I. So, who cares? Right?
I still would like to graduate from the school.
And you will. You will. You missed a
Well,
convocation. That's, I mean.
Again, okay, here's the thing. I have already missed a couple for various reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I can't really afford to miss anymore.
do you even need school anymore, though?
I mean, they keep talking to you about ascendants. You've spoken to one. If anything,
I don't even
you're
even know.
ahead. You're ahead, right?
I can't
Right.
just show up and be like, hey guys, Orlumis talked to me, so we're cool. I don't need this anymore.
I'm sure
mean-
you wouldn't be the first student to say that, to try to get out of.
I'm pretty sure
anything
that's-
sounds bad in that tone.
I mean, I'm pretty sure somebody at one time, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, said those exact same things and built this cathedral.
But how many of them showed up with a floating disc?
See, here's the thing about the floating disc. All of the other students can do that. I just haven't been able to until yesterday.
Well, look, see, you're right there. Listen, all I'm hearing is I'm doing great and I'm having fun. Is there more of this? Like, just looking for more coffee.
You hold out the mug, and Tig, who has just been standing there, reaches down, grabs. Like, you can hear the hot metal sounds interacting with the cold metal of its hand as it like lifts it up and pours some fresh hot into your cup, and then sets it back down.
This is fucking amazing. Yeah.
We all kind of, laugh and tease Mira a little bit about all of this, but when the chuckling dies down and Bren goes to get more coffee, I'll just sort of like nudge her with my shoulder and just say, "We'll figure it out. Don't worry about it."
Even if we turned around now, I would miss another convocation.
We don't know what's going to happen. I feel like we should probably just like wait and see how many you will have missed in the end so that we can come up with a plan, because I think, missing 2 is different than missing like 30. So just
Yeah.
And
Pops
it's not
into
like-
Bren's mind. Wait, 30 weekly farm?
Hey, we're not gonna. Sorry, we're not gonna be out here that long. You're not gonna miss 30.
it was just exaggeration. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but,
What-
I still got animals.
I just,
Well,
It's a lot.
They knew you were coming out here, right? Like they knew you were gonna miss some days, and we have witnesses. You have all 3 of us to vouch for you. And
the note that I left said I was going to be gone for like 2 to 3 days.
Maybe they're just worried about you. Maybe
Yeah.
your return will be just so welcomed because they've been terribly, terribly worried.
what if you actually return with the heart of Orlumis in your hands? That diamond heart that you got from Orlumis.
Who's going to believe that?
I mean, you have 3 witnesses.
To what? You saw a bright light. You didn't see Orlumis.
Just tell them to have faith.
That'll go far.
I don't know.
I don't even know. I don't even know if I want to stay at school or that's always been the goal.
Yeah.
So what do I do if I don't go back? Who am I if I don't go back?
You make new goals.
Like what?
That's
You
the
have to
fun part.
decide.
Live on a farm?
Hey. Have a good time.
Live on a farm.
Better.
If it makes you feel any better, Mira, I'm trying to figure out the same fucking thing.
Are you okay?
Friend kind of leans back.
I will be. It's okay not to be okay, right?
Yeah. You're not
Are you?
alone.
Okay.
Yeah. I told 80 yesterday that what I'm getting from Orlumis is great. It's the best I've ever felt in a long time, and I hate every second of it because I just think about all of the time that I had to waste to get here. And so I'm still mad at Orlumis, and I'm mad that he took so long to respond. But I'm trying to hold on to the good things.
Yeah.
Is it really wasted time though? Sorry.
Go ahead, John. You're a lot better at this than I am.
No. This is. Just
I don't
think
know.
about it.
I spent so many years spinning my wheels, not making any progress. And I'm stuck on this question of why now? Why did Orlumis appear now? Why did Vimredel appear now? What do they want from us?
Maybe you're not meant to know the answer to that right now. Like, maybe there are other questions that you can ask that'll help answer those questions eventually.
I hate it when you're smarter than me.
I'm definitely not. I just say things, and sometimes they come together.
I agree with 80. I don't know the answer to those things. I don't even know if I'll ever know the answer to that. But are you upset that he came late, or that he came at all?
Both. Because I'm still working through what is me and what is this burden from Orlumis.
I wouldn't call it a burden, right? Like Jawline said to me last night, other people don't define who we are and what we can do, right? And I know your big thing is to be there for your sister. So why not have the help of an ascendant to help you protect your sister? Isn't that what you want? Mira?
Yeah. It's why I didn't turn down the opportunity when it finally presented itself. I don't know how this turned out to be about me, though. What about you? Have a way of weaseling out of questions, Vi.
I don't remember a question being asked me.
I want to make sure that you're okay and that you know that you're not alone. Even if it's us against the world.
That's what I'm afraid of, Mira. I'm afraid of it being us against the world. I don't want you guys to get hurt. I don't want to lose you guys. I've already put you guys in so much danger coming out into this mountain through the forest. You know, we had a lot of fun walking our way out of the city towards Jawline's farm. It was great. Felt normal for once, but I don't want it to be us against the world. I want it to be us living in the world. I want us to survive. I can't lose more people.
And you won't.
We're going to find our own magic bird and not fall from the sky. There's got to be somewhere. This world has to be bigger than what we know. And we can find a place where all of us can live a normal life.
Maybe learn to live off the land.
I feel like you guys keep harping on the fact that I have a farm. It's really not that bad. Like, I don't know why.
Honestly, I love that you have a farm. It's where I source my ingredients. It's
See?
literally farm to table.
Boom. And honestly, if it is us against the world, I feel bad for the world. It's going to need a lot of help going against us. Well, burning daylight. Come on. I'm all jacked up. Let's go.
On that note, you all set about to camping up or packing up your supplies, your camp. You take a fair bit of things from the debris field that you had been missing from your previous excursion, and with that advantage, find yourself maybe with a little adrenaline boost from the extremely good coffee, find yourselves making your way up the mountainside once more. Bren has to make a mental connection with Tig to inform them that you are leaving, but as soon as Bren does that, Tig immediately unloads the crossbow, or pulls out the crossbow, loads it up, and starts walking in front of all of you, and making as you all are, as they are now actually leading you up the mountainside. As you make this journey, you figured that you had probably about a half a day or so before you would reach the spot where the remnants of the black smoke had been coming from, and you can still see it up above you as you look up into the sky. The light of the suns, despite the cloudy day, are keeping everything fairly well illuminated for you at this elevation, and it's fairly easy for you to see. Your journey is difficult, but not overly difficult. Traveling at this height has, of course, some challenges to it, but as a group, you all manage to overcome them easily enough. There are spots where you have to take precaution as you journey up loose rock and the like. There's moments of panic, just from the sheer height being up this high. At some point or another, at least one of you gets out of breath as you crest into the several thousand feet up in the air, something that none of you are particularly accustomed to. Andrew, however, or Vi, I should say, however, doesn't experience a lot of those challenges like the others do. Vi keeps finding themselves looking out at the horizon and just getting lost in the sight of it. They don't seem bothered by the higher elevations. They don't seem bothered by the height. They just get lost in that expanse before them. But not so lost that they can't be drug along and be brought back into the moment with all of you as you continue to make your ascent. At one point during your journey, you come across a strange sight. 2 griffins dead on the path before you. There are scorch marks in their sides. Magical scorch marks. Mira immediately recognizes the use of fire spells to kill these very large creatures. She also, with maybe Bren's assistance a little bit, knows that these are territorial creatures. They usually only guard their territory. And 80 picks up the briefest bit of emotion from Tig as you guys come upon them. Concern and relief once you confirm that the 2 of them are dead. You don't have a ton of time to investigate. There's really not much to investigate anyway. But you do see what appears to be footprints, boot prints, heavy boot prints, climbing boot prints, the kind that have spikes rigged into them to help keep footing and climb more vertical surfaces than what you all are working with. Recent as well. These deaths occurred probably just hours before you arrived upon them. But without much else to go on, and with Tig kind of just continuing to walk at some point, and you all catching up, you press on. As you move forward, the air kind of changes a little bit for you. Now, what joviality you might have had after your coffee breakfast and setting out feeling refreshed, there's more concern in your attention. There is definitely something else going on here, and you don't know what that something is. It doesn't take very long, however, as you near where you think the meteor must have fallen. You can't see the smoke anymore. You're too close to it at this point. There's too many rocky outcroppings, too much jagged mountain in blocking and obstructing your view to be able to know for certain, but you know that you must be close at this point. You have maybe 4 hours of sunlight left, and 80 notices it first. You crest around a corner of a steep, steep incline. There's a bunch of loose gravel here that makes it hard to climb. You rely on each other tremendously to get through. And as 80 sees Tig kind of disappear around a corner, she gives follow and places a hand upon a rock in front of her to pull herself up. Just ahead of her, above some rocky outcroppings in the distance, she sees a sail. Ripped, torn, blue and white, seemingly pearlescent, glimmering in the sun's lights. Just flowing in the wind ahead of you. And that's where we're going to call it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Had a lot of great chat going on. Bye, everyone.